Hello and welcome to the first episode of CDL This Week, hosted by myself, camallenn.
And me, Horizontal. Thank you for tuning in into what is going to be a great episode. We have lots of topics we want to touch on over these first couple of episodes as we run up to the opening weekend in Minnesota.
This podcast is really going to be just based around all of the ongoings in and around the CDL and the Call of Duty community, including kind of match stats and reviews when we've got the events going on, player reports on throughout the tournaments and everything, and just anything CDL related really. So we might as well get straight into the first topic.
Go
on.
mean, obviously, franchising was a huge thing when it got announced. I'm just wondering, your initial thoughts when they announced franchising was happening this year.
I was a bit, kind of pessimistic towards it at first. It was kind of a weird one with the whole switch up since since kind of Black Ops 2. Even before that, I mean, Black Ops 2 is when people first kind of got into, I'd say, professional Call of Duty, especially when, say, that Optic and FaZe and that started blowing up. It's been going on for kind of 8-9 years now with just these tournaments and just the league since Black Ops 3, I think it was. It's a big switch up for the whole Call of Duty community, but I think it can bring some positive out of it. I mean, the money that's been thrown into it means it's kind of got to really go somewhere. I mean, teams investing $25 million into it.
Buy-in was a bit crazy. I think a lot of people felt that was a big buy-in, considering a lot of the teams are quite small as well.
Yeah, and especially with the salaries that they're putting up to all the players. I mean, some of them are on. I mean, what is it? It's like minimum 50k a month. Is it a year or a month? Is it 50k?
50 grand a year.
I was going to say a month. Month would be a bit much, wouldn't it? If you got, especially for a team like Toronto who have got 10 players. I'd take 50 grand a year. I mean, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, imagine a team like Toronto having players on minimum 50 a month for 10 players on their team. I mean, but some of the players are making a fucking steal out of being a sub. I mean, fucking Embos and Sense are just gonna be sitting on the subs bench all year. I mean,
Embos, I can understand that. Embos, he competed. What about Maniac?
Yeah, I saw that. But did it get announced? He's the
he got announced
for Florida. For Florida, yeah.
And he's a sub. He's classed as a sub.
He's making an absolute steal. Oh my god, I can't believe
because some of them have got streamers, and I could understand the streamers, but I don't understand how he hasn't competed in Halo for years, let alone anything.
Yeah, I mean it kind of says to you that Florida team aren't interested in kind of making changes throughout their teams. I mean, during the matches or even at all, they're just making them a sub. Yeah,
is it 7 players?
Yeah, it's 2 subs. Yeah,
so maybe I'm guessing they just didn't have enough slots filled. And
I mean, but there's so many young players that they could pick up, or players even like Embos or Sensor, or that they could try and pick up. I don't.
Is there someone on Florida that is close to him?
What is it? It's Morks, Prestini, Havoc, Frosty, and is it Caesar? Is it Skies?
Oh, it'll be
Frosty, won't it?
It's Frosty
because of Halo. Yeah, of course it will be when they played Halo together. Yeah,
it's the friends with benefits.
It is. Everyone was saying it, weren't they? They were all talking about how players are getting on teams through friendships, and that kind of really sums it up, doesn't it?
I mean, the whole.
It's Ogre 2 as well, isn't it? Tom's just said Ogre 2 because he's the GM, isn't he? That's definitely one right there. Ogre 2 being part of that team.
Obviously, that they needed to fill a slot. Maniac's done fuck all for the past year.
No offense to the lad, but he barely even content created.
I get they had a rough time, but
even once he left Halo, he still wasn't content creating for Optic.
No. And it's that's definitely the most questionable sub, I think. But anyway, going back to the whole franchising, I personally am all for it. A lot of people
I'm all for it as well. I think it would be a good change up. It wasn't the stuff was getting dry, but viewers were dropping and all of that, and they were lessening the amount of tournaments.
Bringing in Optic and
Optic versus 100 Thieves, Optic United, and other than that, like the lower teams, say like when I can't remember the teams that were in the league last year, but just some of the games last year were bringing in like 10,000 viewers for. That's just not enough for what should be classed as a major esport. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And considering how old the game franchise is, and it's like been competitive for so many years, you'd think it'd be more at the scale of like League of Legends and stuff, because like they've proven franchising works. But obviously, I would say like my biggest thing going into it was just we were obviously going to lose a lot of branding and a lot of teams.
Yeah, everyone was upset about the whole Optic and FaZe and United and all of the main teams dropping out. Obviously, obviously Optic and FaZe are still kind of in there, but it's not the same. You wouldn't class it as the same. And
no, and it's like 100 Thieves having to drop out was a shame.
Yeah, but I think in at least next year or even the year after, when the league starts to expand, I mean, they'll 100% buy in. Whether they'll go under the 100 Thieves branding, I don't know, but they'll be.
I mean, if Optic and FaZe, like Optic, I can understand how they got the branding, because if they were going off like Overwatch, because it's Activision, if they were going off Overwatch rules, it was like there's only content for that game can go under that brand. And Optic was, well, we saw it get stripped down to
the bare minimum, wasn't it?
the COD.
What is it? It's like Rallied's the only one left as a content creator, I'm pretty sure. I mean,
there's Rallied, and there's some like of the staff are still there.
I mean,
but,
the organisation basically disbanded once Hector kind of when the sale went through to I can't remember their name.
As soon as Immortals game.
Yeah, Immortals, that's the one. Yeah, as soon as they took over, I mean, it was just dead in the.
And it was like, I can understand how they got to keep their franchise, like their name in the franchise, because obviously Optic and FaZe were like the two big teams. If there was ever going to be any teams that kept it, it makes sense to keep them. But I don't get how FaZe kept theirs.
It doesn't work either. I don't like the name Atlanta FaZe. It sounds shit. Their brand. I like the logo. Weird. The logo kind of looks actually kind of nice.
See, I'm like not that keen.
That's because you're a graphic designer, though, aren't you? You know, you feel like you can make something better than it.
I honestly prefer the Subliners logo to the Atlanta FaZe.
That's a fucking bold call. That one. That's a real bold call.
I still don't fully get the name, but I understand the logo better for the Subliners. And it's
I don't understand that. I understand the name more than the logo. I don't get the logo. I don't know. It's just it looks like they're trying to hypnotize everyone. Like I got no idea.
There was the camo that the fucking battleships. I forget. It's got a certain name, but it's what the battleships they used to do the black and white stripes on. It's basically that.
Oh,
it's meant to dazzle you and be like really in your face.
Yeah.
Which it does, but yeah, the Atlanta FaZe, I just don't. It's because the owner's in partnership with FaZe. Yeah, see, that's what I get. But I just don't get how they're using the name when there's still so much. Like, if that's the case, why couldn't other teams do it?
I think other teams didn't want to. I mean, like the London team, they say who they owned by Rogue. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to call them London Rogue. I can see. No. I get obviously we get the Optic one. The Atlanta FaZe, I get it. It's because it's the FaZe name. They bought it under the FaZe branding, so they wanted to use the name because the name's so big. It keeps the fans. It brings in everything like that. So you can get why they kept it.
Then it's like, obviously I get 100 Thieves. They didn't buy in for multiple reasons, but one was definitely the branding thing. But like, it obviously seemed that Nadeshot was told he wasn't allowed to use the 100 Thieves branding, and that just seems like a mistake to me.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really have the money capacity either, did 100 Thieves.
But there's like that was one thing at the start of the franchise. Like there wasn't a lot of communication about what teams and what was actually going on and reasons for why FaZe and Optic are still kept, but other teams aren't. I think that was one downfall, but that's just kind of, let's be honest, that's just Activision and Call of Duty in a nutshell. Just lack of communication. But
yeah, I mean,
they're getting better. If you like recently, but it's kind of like
yeah. I mean, but I mean, we've taken another little tangent there. But I mean, just going back to the early thoughts kind of on the franchising stuff, talking about the first format that they had. Fuck me, that was awful.
Yeah.
Fucking
like-
what were they trying to make us pay to go to Paris?
Well-
It was like €70 a day for 5
Yeah, it
games
was like
of COD.
50
No, two, no, because it was €70 a day, wasn't it? It was like €140 for 2 days, which was 5 games of COD.
See,
But I'm all right,
there
thanks.
was more weekends, which I was all like, that was great. There was lots of weekends.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind the whole like spring summer split idea of splitting into
No, I like
summer
that.
seasons.
Definitely like that.
But yeah, I fully agree. They were only doing like 5 games a weekend.
But trying to
Just
charge you
awful.
extortionate amount of money. Like, I was close to not even going to London, and like going last year to CWL London, there was no way I wasn't gonna go again this year.
Yeah.
But for 5 games of COD, it just didn't even seem worth it.
It definitely stung. But I'm glad that like me and you both did get tickets to London, and I think that's paid off now because.
100%. Yeah, 100%. 2 weekends for what was it, like £100, and you get
And
the mini
there's-
little tournament
is it
sections. And,
6? How many teams go in each weekend?
8.
Is it 8?
yeah, so you get a
And each
decent amount
team's
of COD.
playing Twice.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be 8 games, right? Yeah.
I don't know the maths, but you get.
Quick maths.
I can't do quick maths, Jesus Christ. But I know I prefer.
the old
but this,
format
yeah,
is-
the new format is so much better with the point system and the
and
kind of
the whole leaderboard system, and doing like each weekend is its own little tournament and it earns points, which is more like what we used to, and it just actually gives more of a reason to the champs at the end.
yes.
Because really, let's be honest, everyone in COD in the past only ever cared about champs and who won champs. And the other ones
To
didn't
a
really-
degree, I would
to
say.
agree.
I
That
mean,
was like the one
people
that was
obviously
like-
cared about the other tournaments, but you were setting up to the end of the season to play at champs,
Yeah,
to win
the other
champs. I mean,
tournaments didn't mean anything really for what happened in champs.
no,
Like you could have
no.
played godlike all year, and then champs just it didn't matter. You could still. Whereas now, at least you're getting points, and it puts you into playoffs, and there's a whole playoff system.
Yes.
So that's interesting because there'll obviously be 4 teams that don't go to champs
Get in,
now. So
yeah.
there's a lot more
I mean,
pressure.
yeah, there's a
on-
lot more pride in trying to get into that top 8 to get to champs. I mean, I feel like the teams will be playing harder if you don't have an automatic ticket to champs.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's the
exactly.
big. I mean, like you said, that's the one everyone wants to win. So people are 100% going to be gunning for that.
Oh yeah, there's 4 slots and then 4 wildcard slots. So if you're in the wildcard, you're still on the edge of like.
It's better than not getting in though.
You're basically going in at like losers bracket.
Yeah.
Is the sense that I
But
get.
I think it'll be interesting though, come the next couple of years, especially if the stuff does expand, the league expands to say, I don't know, 16 teams, or because we've got 12 at the moment. If it expanded to 16, how it would work? Would they split into 2 groups? Like, would they respect? Would they?
Well, if it goes off Overwatch League, which I imagine they're basing it lightly off, because obviously it's Activision.
Yeah, especially as Overwatch does work. I mean, the Overwatch League is
Year
being
2,
successful.
they got 4 additional teams, I think.
Okay, so that would bump it up to 16 if that was to happen.
And then I think they've now had another 4, so I think they're on 20 total now. if I'm right.
Flipping hell,
I could
that's
be
a lot.
wrong there.
It's just interesting to think that how it would work if they'd split into 2 leagues, and then but it means you'd get
Well,
more event. Would you get more events? Would you get more teams at the events? So it
I
means
would
we might get more
imagine-
COD in the future.
Well, Overwatch League has split into like divisions, more divisions. There's 4 different divisions
okay,
now.
so 4 teams, 4 groups of 5. If you've got 20,
Yeah,
20
I think that's
teams,
what it
yeah.
is. So I would imagine maybe you would have maybe a bit more like how the NFL is. It's like in your division, you
Yeah.
each.
Yeah, the first team
play-
comes out. Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? If they set it up like the NFL. If they got enough
Like
teams.
then you obviously have a lot more divisional games, maybe, and I would imagine it would mean more games overall.
What I'd
'cause
be
there's gonna
interested
more
to see.
home weekends,
Yeah.
especially. If
Yeah,
they
of course
want,
they would
like,
if there's
each
more
team
teams,
to
yeah.
have a home weekend.
Yeah. How many would that would
That
leave you
best.
with? Like, well, 15 obviously with the 2 LA teams.
It basically come to a point where there is a tournament every weekend.
I'd love that. More stats to make, more stuff
Yeah,
to
there's-
create.
There's more
I
to
love
watch
that.
and more to follow.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, the potential's there, and I think franchising, like lets them do a lot more with the league and push it into new places.
What I'd be interested in is
overall,
if in the future they had something like how they'd have like the Premiership and the Championship, where it'd be like, you know, the bottom 3 teams get relegated and then they have like a playoff system in the say called the Championship per se, you know, and teams would go up and down depending on, because obviously when you bring in more teams there's going to be more players, but the quality of those players could go down because obviously these players haven't been picked up as of yet, so the quality could go down. So would they need to create a kind of league system where you have like Division 1, Division 2, where rather than it being A and B like side by side?
What I think would be really cool is if you had, like referencing the NFL again, but if they did a draft system with players, so it's not so much the teams drop up and down, but like players might fall back into their amateur league if they don't perform well enough and don't get picked up.
That's what I mean by a 2-tier division rather than an NFL system, because NFL system you could have 4 shit teams in one league, like in one kind of subdivision, and that team, so talk about say the NFC East, how you've got the Cowboys and the Eagles vying for a place going 8-7, or was it 8-8? I mean, it's just shit, you know. The Eagles went into the game and they didn't exactly get rolled by Seattle, but you know, it doesn't work like that, because you end up getting shit teams coming out of these divisions that aren't worthy of a spot, and then you've got a division like the NFC, is it like the NFC South, where you got like the Saints and stuff.
The only thing about having teams drop up and down is like they've paid for a spot, haven't they?
True. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, you don't want to pay 25 mil to be in a shit league.
In Champs, we used to get some amateur teams, didn't we? There was
yes,
always, like,
and they actually always competed. To be fair, they actually did do a good job most of the time.
It'd be nice to see, because there's obviously this whole Challenger League going on at the same time. If like there's the 4 main spots, the 4 wildcard spots, but then there's like some 2 challenger spots where the top 2 amateur teams actually have a go.
I feel like they'll have something for Champs. Will they? No, actually they probably won't, because those teams are bought into the league, so I doubt they'd have any of the challenger teams in Champs competing against the top teams. I feel like it would literally just be a full split.
All-Star weekend might be more about.
I think that would be something like the Pro Bowl, where the players get selected like they have done all the time when we have the Miami, like the All-Star games that we usually at Anaheim.
True.
Where they do that and we select the players that play, and you know, I feel like it would just be something like that. But I don't know what, you know, that's one game of COD or like 3 maps of COD or whatever. It's interesting to kind of see what they come up with for that whole weekend, because it's going to be probably based over 2 days.
Separate Champs for challengers.
Bench has that inside intel. He's an analyst. he's a coach. So
I wonder. They haven't. I presume that's going to be on the same weekend as Champs. Then
I'd have thought so.
All Stars might be a fun if it was like.
It's public info.
Had to
I didn't
be
know
made
that.
up of so many pros and so many.
Amateurs.
Yeah, and do like a mixed thing.
I wonder if it would just be like a little tournament, but they kind of switch up the teams, so they kind of do like a little mock draft or like draw names out of a hat per se, and they just put players together and they do a mini little tournament. I think that'd be quite cool, just as a bit of fun. You know, you can use any gun, or you know, you just got people running around with the 725 just blasting each other from 400 meters away.
You're just going to get people running around with a riot shield and a shotgun.
Yeah, but it'd be good fun. Because it's not serious. Like, I feel like that would be quite a little fun entertainment for the crowd. And so we'll see what happens.
A great one on All-Star Weekend is if they did an infected.
that would be good. That would be good.
Like all the pros on one map.
On like a ground war map.
On a ground war map and do an infected.
That would be quite fun. That would be quite good actually. I'd enjoy that. But talking about kind of.
Obviously, there's other things as well that the CDL's bringing, like things like merch.
You beat me to it. You beat me to the segue. I was about to segue that one in.
Because we saw everyone launch their launch merch and their early access merch, and then obviously it got Hex was the one that announced that like the league's taking it over.
Yes.
I'm hoping that means there's going to be like at every event, every weekend, there is a booth that has all the teams' jerseys, and they just have like, I don't mind if they're all the same design, but just having that ability that like everyone can have a jersey, it's all in the same design actually because it's all for the league. It's kind of like, then it doesn't matter what team you support at the weekends, you can always pick up.
Yeah, I feel like it will be done more professionally than just selling it online. I mean, I'm hoping they'll have booths and stands where they are selling the merch, and obviously going off what the Overwatch League has done, they've obviously have the website where they sell the official merch with the team jerseys, and they have tabs for each of the teams where they've got all the t-shirts and caps and all of that, and I don't see a problem with it. I think obviously it'd be nice for teams to create their own jerseys, but if that's not the case, then hopefully they just come out with some good merch. I mean,
yeah,
I'll still be buying a Ravens top. So
I think would be maybe nice is if each team can have their own like featured item, where they get to design it. So like
the jersey or something.
Well, maybe not so much a jersey, but like maybe, for example, like the Huntsmen have brought them flags out. If there isn't flags already as an option, like they can come up with their design for like.
Well, I wonder if the teams will be able to kind of probe to the league to what they want. Possibly. Like, I wonder if they'll be able to go, well, we want beanie hats and snapbacks, and then another team wants t-shirts and socks. I don't know, like just, or I wonder if the league will just come out with items, the same items of clothing for all of the teams.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I'm not really sure where they're going to go with merch, to be honest.
I mean, we'll find out probably on.
Well, we'll find out. I would hope before Minnesota. I mean, it should be next week at some point.
It wouldn't surprise me if it only gets launched on the weekend unless like merch is there to buy.
Yeah, maybe. But I hope it's not just able to buy at the event. I hope you can pick it up online like the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Because they'd make way more money off of that, because people will still buy the jerseys and the t-shirts and whatnot, even if they're not going to the event. So it'll be interesting to see what they kind of do with it. I mean, and then there's just something I wanted to go back to, talking about the league and the franchising aspect to it, is the people being subbed out mid-match. I mean, there's definitely going to be some teams that won't be doing that, like Florida. I'm not exactly going to be expecting maniacs to be hopping into a match of such. Yeah, I don't expect that, but I wonder if there are going to be certain maps that people don't like, players don't like, but I haven't seen too much from scrims where they've been scrimming with their subs. I mean, obviously New York aren't going to be bringing Sensor in if he's dropping 7 kills per hard point in 10s. I mean,
there's definitely some of them that are on there as just for public face.
Yeah, for money. They're in there to get paid, and they're in there to promote the brand.
For the team.
Like Sensor and Embo's Maniac, even. I mean, Maniac's got that branding behind him.
I mean, Embo's could still probably.
I don't think Embo's could do it. I think Sensor would do better than Embo's.
Well, yeah, they're all gonna kind of be there. More so, you're probably more likely to see those guys play if there's somebody sick and they're really stuck.
Yeah, like what happened at Fort Worth last year when Priester obviously threw up on stage, didn't he? And Crowder had to come in and replace him for that. What was it? It was like the semi-final, wasn't it? It was like winners semis, I think, that he had to come in for. And to be honest, they would have probably won that tournament if Priester hadn't have got sick. So yeah, I think everything will be interesting. I mean, I think if teams do it. Yeah, go on.
If I was like on a team as a sub, you've got to be like I'd just focus in on one thing. Like either you're the most insane SMG for when they need an extra SMG player.
Yes. But are there players? I mean,
or you're insane at like hard point.
But
insane. Like make sure like you're the best at one thing.
But I'm wondering if the teams are scrimming maybe privately with their subs in on certain maps that we don't see kind of on stream, because obviously a lot of teams are streaming it because it's probably under their contracts that some of them have to stream their scrims and stream other stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot more of like they're open to them streaming stuff now.
Yes, 100%. But there's definitely stuff that goes on behind the scenes, obviously like team planning and map planning and stuff like that with their coaches. But I'm just curious to know if they're kind of scrimming with subs on certain maps, because obviously like Isaiah Cave is a 4AR map. That's been said.
If they bring subs in like mid-match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. It'd be fun to see. But would it damage the team morale or like what's that?
Like, do we know what the rules are for subs? Like, can they sub like between rounds?
No, it's only between maps. So after hardpoint, you can swap for the S&D or you can swap for the domination. So, that's a good one. What's your thoughts on domination being in? Because obviously, I know a lot of people. There was talks of CTF coming back, and no one really kind of knew what it was going to be.
CTF. I'm not against domination. Like, domination's not the worst thing that they could add. There's obviously a lot more game modes that are much worse.
Yes, Blitz, for example.
Yeah, or just straight PDM, or like there's a lot of game modes there that are nowhere near competitive. Domination's not bad. Domination, just in my eyes, is very flawed because it's like the pros obviously know how to play it and know how to read.
But the new system that they're doing domination for the CDL is obviously it's 2 5-minute rounds, so it's not first to 200 like it used to be, and I mean you're not going to know that a team's already won miles before the game actually ends. I mean you're going to have the game ending. The teams could triple cap towards the end and.
Yeah, I personally would have preferred CTF. I'm not against domination.
Yes, I would have preferred CTF too, but domination, it suffices. I called it being domination before they announced it. I thought the game was probably too slow for CTF. It didn't work in World War II. It was way too. The only map it really worked on was London Docks because it was small. I mean, I can't remember the other. I mean, what was Ardennes Forest? I mean, that was shit. That was shit. If they both capped the flag because they could just run opposite sides of the map, and then it would be a 5-minute stalemate, and it'd just be boring to watch.
It's just I think domination on the right maps could be quite interesting. We'll just have to wait and see how it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously us as just viewers, and fans, we don't know all of the ins and outs of how each maps are going to go, and because I haven't personally watched too much scrims because I haven't been the biggest fan of this game so far. But
watched a lot of
hopefully
scrims,
I'll get more into it.
I was playing a lot, and I enjoy like objective-based modes so much more. So like domination is enjoyable.
Yes,
but capture the flag, I think, just from a viewer standpoint, would be a lot more interesting to watch.
I don't know. I just feel like it's too slow. Did you say domination would be more interesting to watch?
No, CTF.
I don't know. I feel like domination's more like the games can be done before they're done, but it's like
true. And well, now there's a new format. It might change it up a bit because I suppose like you have got the whole halfway in. It resets it basically, and there's a chance for the team to
come back, which is better than the way it used to go, where it was just first to 200. But I mean, CTF is just. I just feel like on this game, it'd be way too slow, just like World War II. And at least in domination, it's more fast paced because you can get any flag at almost any time. Whereas if you have a stalemate in CTF, it just gets repetitive. Like, oh, we're going to push this lane. Oh, we're all dead. Other team pushes. Oh, we're all dead. Kind of thing. Especially 5v5. I don't think 5v5 CTF would work. You would almost. It would be such a low scoring game. Especially on a map like Hackney or Gunrunner. I mean, both fairly small maps.
There isn't fast movement.
Yes.
Like some of the past ones, like the past Black Ops, you haven't got that same movement speed.
Yeah, I mean, going into Black Ops 4, I didn't really enjoy Control. I thought it was all right, but I mean, when a team went up kind of 15-7 or 8, you already knew that they were going to win, even if they were on defense or offense. I mean, it was almost pretty much set in stone. So, but I mean, it was still fairly fun to watch because of the fast-paced aspect to it. So I didn't mind Control. I wouldn't put it as my favourite. I'd still put Uplink as my favourite map 3.
Uplink
was good. It was fast-paced, but obviously you can't have that. It's not a jetpack game. I mean, what was Gridiron in World War II? That was wank. That was rubbish. No one enjoyed that. That got scrapped straight away. So
I suppose like, if you wanted like just a absolute ridiculous, no one has any idea what was going on, just put kill confirmed in.
No, just straight killing based games just wouldn't work. It's like TDM or kill confirmed. I don't think it would work. It would be absolute fucking. It would be chaos. It'd be absolute chaos.
I'd love to just watch the casters to try and cast it.
He's going for the tag. Oh no, he's dead. It just wouldn't be good to cast. I mean, Maven would still end up making it good, but I mean, I don't think it'd be the best.
Also, like going back to like the maps and stuff. Some of the maps are big.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to switch up the maps this year, didn't they? By making it so you can spot things from different areas and you can jump up on all these roofs. And I'm not massively against it, but just some of the map design, like Ramaza, there's too many rooms. There's too many doors. Doors as well. Doors they are the worst addition to CoD ever. I mean, I'm not a fan.
I don't mind the doors, but there needs to be better ways, like not just head first sprinting through them.
I mean, you can peek them, but if you try and peek it and someone's pre-aiming it, you're pretty much dead. I mean, at least if you charge through it, you got somewhat of a chance. I just think they're a really shit addition to the game, which is a shame. But you just got to go with what you've got. I mean, that doesn't go for everything, but for something like that, I mean, you just got to kind of roll with it, really, haven't you?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not against the rooms. It definitely opens maps up more. But yeah, like spawns. It'll be interesting because I haven't really heard much about spawns again recently. There was obviously everyone was going on about spawns for ages. How bad
they're still pretty broken and rubbish.
Okay,
but I mean, we'll see if they go ahead and try and fix them. But I don't see them fixing it before Minnesota. Maybe London. What have they got? 2 weeks after Minnesota before London?
After Minnesota.
Maybe they fix them then, but then that only gives teams less than 2 weeks to try and learn new spawns for the next tournament. I mean,
is there learning spawns now?
I mean a little bit. I've heard from people that once you kind of understand how fucked they are, you do learn them. But you still get the odd random spawn where you'll have 4 men pushed up on like Hackney, and someone still spawns in that back left room. Like they are still a bit broken, but
next to someone.
So,
and it's just like, well, that doesn't make sense. But yeah. No. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how spawns are. I mean, me as like a graphic designer, Codcaster's so bad this year.
Yes,
like,
it's awful.
Visually,
it's awful. I mean,
and it's like, in my heart, I'm hoping that that's just the Codcasters in the game, and that's what they've given us. And because of the league, they've put money into production.
I wouldn't bank on it, to be honest. I honestly wouldn't bank on it.
But I'm hoping
they'll just go with what they've got.
Maybe
for someone that does stats, as long as like last
League
year,
of Legends level.
No, but last year it was good. Last year was good, I thought, at the start, and then towards, I think it was after Fort Worth or before Fort Worth, they changed it that when someone died, their character went black on the top of the screen, like on the kind of leaderboard, so you couldn't see at the end. So for me, like when I was taking stats, I'd take clips at the end of the games and take all the stats off of it. And sometimes you couldn't see it at the end of the game, so you'd have to like rewind the thing to just before they last died and figure out if they got a kill before they died, and you have to add it on, and it was just a pain. So as long as the Codcaster for me with the stats is clear, then I'm not wholeheartedly against it, because I'm not, for the most of the game, I'm not really looking at the Codcaster. You're watching the game, but as long as the players don't go blackout, then I'm not really too against it. So
I just feel like it all comes down to, I suppose, it's where there isn't that link yet between Activision, who are running the league, and the developers.
Yeah, I don't have any insider knowledge of that. So
all I get the sense is that because the league will have been in work for probably the last year or so, but they'll have only decided last season that it's happening, and this COD was way in production by then.
Yeah.
So I think it might take another year or two before we see like a nice merge between CDL and actual COD.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get it this year because I don't think they'll. Well, we might do, but I doubt they'll. With all the tournaments being so close together, I doubt they try and switch up too many things. Which, to be honest, I don't know how many patches, like big patches, we're now going to get competitively once everything kicks off in 2 weeks. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, if there's like big bugs and stuff, they'll have to throw out some patches. But spawns wise, what did they've switched spawns like once, I think, last year on Seaside.
What was it? They released that Trello board, didn't they, the other day?
Oh yeah, that website where they had all the stuff. Yeah,
tracking, and spawns wasn't on there. So
jeez, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to keep tabs of that website just for future. But it's just moving things on a little bit. The Challenger League, kind of, what's your opinions on the old Challenger League and it being its own separate format, a little bit like last year?
I mean, I'm all for it, and it gives a way for like the amateurs to like actually progress. I'm so glad they changed the whole points thing that subs got, because that was an uproar.
Yeah, that was a bit nuts, wasn't it? When all the shit players had X amount of like pro points.
When all the when people burnt bridges, shall we say, some certain people out there that like started saying some stuff on social media that I probably has burnt bridges for them even getting a sub spot now.
I.e. Pentagram.
But I think it's great because it now gives the amateurs a way to actually like try and build, like, get themselves known a lot easier. Also, something that I've seen is some of the old teams are now having challenger teams, so they're still
like UYU, for example, and you've still got
old team names that we know are now picking up challenger teams.
Yes,
so it's kind of a good way for them to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see some more of the bigger teams like thrown into the mix. Some of the teams maybe like obviously there's no even like Evil Geniuses. I don't think they bought into the league. It'd be good to see them back in COD and some of the other kind of bigger names get thrown back in to that Challenger League. But I just don't know if they will, because they're such big brands. They only really want the best, don't they? They don't. Teams like UYU, it was their last year. It was their first year last year. So I can kind of see why they've jumped into the Challenger League.
If the league gets the traction this year, maybe some of the big teams will consider it to go into the Challenger till they have the opportunity to buy in.
Definitely.
But I mean, like, overall, like, it just gives it's good for everyone, and the fact that the franchising has helped bring this is just another positive from the franchising, really, because it gives so many more players the opportunity to
I mean, it's fairly similar to last year in a way. Obviously it's changed up a little bit, but last year, I mean, they had their own tournaments on the side, and whereas before it was they would do the kind of the amateur stuff, and then the top teams from the amateur stuff would get put into the final, what was it, like 4 spots in groups in the pro stuff, and they never really had a chance to prove themselves, because they would, I mean, like 8 or 9 times out of 10 they were just getting smoked by the pro teams. Whereas this year, and even last year, they had more chances to kind of prove themselves, and that's why we saw a lot more of these younger, kind of less experienced players get picked up, get into league teams, and even qualify from the pro league qualifier. I mean, the players that were on UYU before that team completely switched up, I mean, those were players that we'd never heard of.
The fact that they're having their own champs and all that, you'd hope that it now kind of, the players that show themselves to be really good, hopefully will get picked up as subs next year.
Even this year, I mean, some of them could easily get picked up, but I don't know whether those players want to. I mean, you're earning racks sitting on the bench, but I don't know if these guys are going to want to sit on the bench and not be able to play in the Challenger League if the team doesn't have a Challenger team.
That comes down to their contracts, doesn't it? Because some subs...
But some teams don't have Challenger teams.
Yeah, and it's down to they can only have 1 sub per Challenger team.
Is it 1 or 2? Was it not 2? Yeah. I thought it might have been 2. But Ben
I guess that comes down to teams that, if they're happy to pick them up, they're like still let them play.
You need a 2. Yeah, but Benj,
Yeah,
Benj, can you tell us if it's 1 or 2? Yeah, 2 subs. There we go. Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2.
Like, for teams that already have their 2 subs just to meet criteria this year, some of them like Maniac, Sensor, who aren't going to be playing in Challenger or really doing much else, it might be good for those teams to pick up another amateur as a sub who can still compete in Challenger.
It depends if those teams want to have the Challenger team. I mean, some of them might not want to go into. I know London have got one, and the Toronto must have one with their 5 subs. So you'd have thought that.
Yeah,
I feel like Toronto must have
so
one.
many players.
Yeah, especially people like Kleenex. Like, he's a really good player, and he needs Atlanta at the other. Oh, Atlanta. I didn't know Atlanta had one. Toronto don't. Okay, I feel like the players, someone like Kleenex, should definitely be on one of these.
Toronto players going to be doing this year.
Just going to be sitting around just wanking in a corner. Really, that's what it seems like.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's 10 of them. It's nuts to me, honestly. I think they've picked up too many players, and plus even their starters aren't that good. They don't have the strongest team.
They haven't got. Yeah, but maybe that's what they've not got. Any big starters that will have cost them salary wise, so they've got the money and they've just gone, you know what, we'll spread it across subs.
But why? I don't get that. I don't get why they've picked up so many subs that they're probably not going to use. I mean, they don't even know their starting lineup yet, which to me is nuts.
Maybe going to swap
10 players they can do private scrims. Rattles just said 10 players they can do private scrims.
To maybe do it is they keep rotating, find the best ones.
But you're not going to do that. Maybe you are going to do that in and out of tournaments, but you have to know your team before you go to a tournament. I mean, even 2 weeks before, you need to be hard scrimming and then going to boot camps. Especially before Minnesota, you want to make a good impression first tournament of the year. If you don't even know your roster by now, I am not betting on them. I wouldn't even bet on them to win a match. I mean, if they don't, I mean, I don't know fully if they know their team yet, but
they can. That's true. They can do their own scrims, but then that doesn't get them anywhere.
No, exactly. Especially unless it's the proposed starting lineup versus the other 5. But even then, if the other 5 isn't scrimming a lot together, the starting 11 is just going to smoke them anyway. So you don't really. I wouldn't really say you gain too much from that.
That team does baffle me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that Toronto team. But talking about scrims though, I mean, we know that people have been saying Chicago, Dallas are looking like the 2 best teams at the moment, and Atlanta.
I mean, I don't know if you watched the CDL documentary episode 1 or whatever.
I did, yes.
And how Scump said in that they seem to be beating everyone, but Empire.
Yeah, I mean Empire are good. They've got 3 of what you'd probably say 3 of the best young talents.
Yeah. In
Shotzi, Illy, and Hugh, and then you've got 2 legends of the game who both have 2 rings. I mean, in Clay and Krim, it's not a bad lineup if you ask me.
No.
But then people were saying, you look at that Chicago team when they announced it, everyone was saying that's a god team on paper, and they're proving it clearly at the moment in scrims. So I don't know. It would just be interesting.
I'd say I'd be surprised if Huntsman and Empire don't do the best in Minnesota. They're the top 2. I'd
be surprised if those 2 aren't top 3 come the end of Minnesota, even though all 12 teams are there. And FaZe. Tom just said FaZe. Yeah, FaZe are on paper, I would say, a top 3 team. Almost 100%. I mean, that team is pretty nuts. You got some of the best young players in Celia, Mabizi, Simp, Major Maniac, and Priester. Priester is the last one. I mean, that team's fast pace, and Ravens are a god team. Ravens are a good team. We love the London team. They've only just started scrimming though, so I don't know if you see them. I mean, what did Rated only fly over 2 weeks ago? About 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't exactly see I love the Ravens. I support the Ravens, but I don't see them challenging too much at the first event. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they do, obviously, but I don't know.
They are behind on scrimming, and it's kind of like. But it's true though. Scrimming doesn't mean everything.
Well, I've heard Paris haven't even scrimmed once yet, so Zed's been tweeting out.
We all know what we say about Paris, but
yeah, we're not a fan. We're not a fan. Apart from Zed, we like and Dens. I like Zed and Dens. I can't not like Zed and Dens. Oh, they have scrimmed. Oh, I heard that Zed was tweeting out that they haven't really been scrimming, and that he's been watching the Chicago scrims to learn the game. Just not in America. Oh, okay. So they haven't been scrimming the top teams, but they've been scrimming, I would say, some of the amateur teams over in Europe, I guess. But how does that work? Because they're a split between an American and a European team. So
horrible ping.
But again, even if you are scrimming, you're not getting good scrims if someone's on shit ping. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it at the first tournament. I can't imagine too well, which we aren't too disappointed about as Ravens fans. But London are playing Paris at the first event. That's not bad. New York and Paris. That'll be good lineups. Actually, let's open that. Let's open up that. That's out there. It'd be interesting.
Before we get onto predictions and stuff.
Yeah.
Something that hasn't been announced or even. But a lot of people ask for is in-game stuff, in-game cosmetics for your team. We talked about merch before.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that haven't been announced or been said about, and we're 2 weeks away from opening weekend, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot of that team stuff and league stuff in-game is going to get announced.
Well, World War II, they didn't bring it in until, I would say, February or March. They brought it in really late, and even then it was awful. But obviously, I know you've made some of your packs, haven't you? You've made some of those nice stuff, and I know that Lion Man also has been making his packs.
I know when Overwatch League began, they did it at the beginning of it. It launched with the league.
Yeah.
Kicked off. So I'm hoping Activision are going to keep it the same.
I wouldn't bank on it.
See, a lot of people say this. They don't back, but there's, especially with the fact that it's now franchised and these teams are bought in, there must have been some agreement.
But they should have bought, unless they're going to bring it out for the opening weekend.
That's all I can.
That's the only Yeah, Rattle just said probs a couple of days before launch, but maybe they bring it out at the same time as the merch if they tied it in with the league and with Activision. I mean, we don't know. No one knows anything about these team cosmetics. So
they've got to make their money back. Otherwise, these teams aren't going to just chuck if there's not some loose plan of how they're meant to be making their money back. And one of it's got to be through merch and cosmetics that are team based, and they get a cut of it.
Yeah, what the teams you mean get a cut of it?
Yeah. So the way it works in Overwatch League is teams get a cut of every. If someone buys their team skins in game, they get a cut of it. Same with merch.
Yeah. I just like Ben's just said. I mean, they haven't fixed the game, so it's unlikely they're going to bring in cosmetics. It's a fair point. I don't see it happening, to be honest.
There's obviously some agreement with Activision between the Activision and the studios. There's got to be certain things that Activision's no, you have no choice. This has to be in.
Unless they maybe
some things.
Unless they add it to season. Obviously, when season 2 comes out, maybe they bring it out when they start season 2 in the game, and maybe they throw it in the battle pass, or I don't know if they throw some cosmetics in the battle pass, because obviously they said they don't want any supply drops and they didn't want to do any microtransactions. But obviously they have the microtransaction with the battle pass, but that was a given when it was announced. They weren't just going to give it to everyone for free.
I think it's more they wanted to stop the whole crate system.
Yes.
Than anything, which I'm glad they did. I hate crate systems.
I still spent my money on them. Unfortunately, I did.
I learnt my lesson in my days on CSGO.
I learnt mine on Black Ops 3 that I shouldn't have spent so much money on it. But I mean, Black Ops 3 was good for skins and stuff. I really enjoyed that game, especially cosmetic wise. But I just don't know what they're going to bring in. I mean, they already have, what is it, like 80 camos per gun in this game.
Yeah, they've got a ridiculous amount of camos, and they've got these new packs that you can buy.
Yeah.
I mean, it just... I would hope, like, the things that me and Lionel dropped, the, like, cosmetic packs so you can support your team. I think if you really want the franchise to grow, you need to have stuff in-game to, like, bridge that gap between just the people that...
because even the casuals, they see that thing and they go, oh, what's this? You know... Oh, there's professional stuff. I didn't know about this. Oh, I'm really interested in this now. You know, it is a potential way to bring in new viewers and new people into the professional scene, into the CDL by releasing these cosmetics. Because people love cosmetics, but people have loved cosmetics since they started. I mean, they probably majorly started when they had the really nice camos in Black Ops 2. People have always loved spending. Well, I would say love spending money, but people have spent money on camos and
any game.
You know, it entices people into being a part of the
everyone
league.
loves cosmetics. Like, look at the COD 4 days. Everyone wanted to get gold. Everyone wants to show off in game.
Yes.
And there's people that will want to show off for their teams.
100%.
Just like you do in normal sport.
Yeah, I mean, like you could put that towards merch. I mean, like football teams, players love wearing their kits. I mean, I can guarantee that a lot of people love wearing their jerseys to COD events. Like, obviously, I'll be wearing that limited edition Ravens jersey, I would have thought, and I'm sure a load of other people who bought it will be as well. So, you know, but that's not a way to grow the industry. They need to be adding these other things that can entice new people into being interested in professional Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, you need to like grow it outside of just the sphere of people that already follow competitive.
Yes, 100%. Otherwise, like I said, it's just not going to grow. And I think cosmetics are a great way to entice new people to play the game, because we already know there's loads of casuals that play the game that don't have a fucking clue about professional Call of Duty, because they all just like to sit in a corner with a 725.
As well.
Yeah, especially after Christmas when all the Christmas noobs pick up the game.
Noobs.
Yeah, we love Christmas noobs,
Exactly.
but anyway,
the Christmas noobs that we no longer get because of the skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I hate about this game, is that you get kicked out of that lobby you're in. You find a perfect lobby, and then straight away you get kicked out of it. Like, how's that going to be enjoyable?
I have mixed feelings about skill-based matchmaking. I think they should only
have skill-based in ranked, but they don't even have a fucking ranked playlist in this game because they can't be asked.
Skill-based matchmaking works when you have a place for casuals and a place for ranked.
100%. That's why I enjoyed Black Ops 4 to a degree, because I could go into pubs and I could just shit on shit players. But then you'd also have ranked where you'd get challenged, and for me, I learn't a lot of stuff about the game by playing ranked, and obviously by watching the CWO last year. Yeah. But you know, you learn stuff playing ranked. It's easy.
Ranked system did take
all pros want to do. They don't want to play pubs. All they do is play ground war because they don't like pubs. They want to play ranked. They want to be playing against other good players. It challenges them to learn new things rather than just doing the same thing over and over again in scrims.
I mean, look at any game that has an esports scene around it, a competitive scene around it. Their base game has a ranked mode.
Yeah, I can't believe... I mean, I know at least Black Ops 4 had it. I know it came out late last year and no one was happy about it, and people didn't really like the way it worked. But, I mean, at least give us a ranked playlist. I might play the game a little bit more if they had a ranked playlist, because I don't want to play pubs in this game.
At least then you get ranked rules. You get maps that are only in the rotation.
Well, and map voting, as Tom's just said. I mean...
Even map voting.
I can't believe they don't have that.
I'd love to see a system like on CSGO. So CSGO, you pick what maps you want to play on before you search. And it tells you which ones are the ones in competitive rotation.
Yeah.
I'd love that, because then it's like, if you just want to get good at one map...
Yeah, you can just play people that want to play that one.
You can just pick the ranked one. Or if you really want to, you just pick every map and you don't care.
The problem with that in COD is that if you go, say, to like Black Ops 4, people are only going to want to play about 3 maps because all of them are shit. And it's the same with this one.
There's like 5 maps in rotation, and most people, or 5 or 6, I forgot what it is now, but most people only want to play 3.
Yeah.
Some even only play 1 map.
Yeah, and true. And then I
fine.
guess that's just for the hardcore players. I guess you obviously got the regular players that will happily play any map. So I guess actually it's not the worst thing. I think that'd be a good idea. Just there's so many good ideas that I'm not saying us, but just the whole community comes up with that they don't listen to, and I think that's what really grinds people, like really sends people up the wall about CoD and Activision and Infinity Ward and all of them that make these games, that they don't listen to the community when when we want something. I'm not even just talking about spawns. It's just as simple things like map voting and I don't know. Even I can't even think of any other things. But
I have hopes for the future of CoD now that it's franchised. That Activision will make. I
think coming back off the end, when we get to the end of this year and we get the new CoD obviously next October or November or whenever it is, that I think they'll surely have learnt from this year that now that we're into franchising, they have to. These organisations are spending $25 million to be in this league, and this game is 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away from us having our first event of the year.
I mean,
and it's not even like the game's just come out. If the game had just come out, I could somewhat understand. But the game's been out since October, and they haven't fixed it. It's a $25 million buy-in, and they haven't fixed a game that people are spending that amount of money to be involved in professionally, and they can't be asked to fix the stuff. It's actually embarrassing for Infinity Ward that.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's the developers, because Activision's actually proven themselves to listen. Activision have listened.
Somewhat. I wouldn't go more than Infinity Ward have. Yeah.
I mean, Activision has listened, because let's be honest, to completely restructure the entire format, that takes a lot.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just more talking about just the general mechanics of these games that we have to play. I mean, me personally, you personally, we don't have to play these games. I haven't. I'm only level like 50 on this game because I'm not interested in playing a game that isn't fixed. But I feel bad for the pros that are having to play these games where they've got X amount of, what is it, $6 million tournament prize money this year, and they haven't fixed this game to make it suitable for competitive. And it's I'll be straight up. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing on Infinity Ward that they haven't sorted this out. And I don't blame. And I see Morks tweet out every day.
Activision have to make it like mandatory for the developers now on to like consider ranked systems and like a competitive side of it.
100%. I see Morks tweeting out every day about having red dots back on the minimap. He tweets it out every day. It's a copy pasta tweet. He probably has it scheduled.
Probably.
He just tweets out every day saying, atting Infinity War, being like, can we have red dots back? It's a joke. I can understand that they trialed that, and then they listened to the community, to be fair on that, and then just decided to not listen to them anymore. No one wants to play without red dots on the map. It's a proven part of CoD. And people are saying like, oh, you've got the compass at the top, it tells you where they are. It doesn't. It's not the same. It's not the same. It doesn't work. I'm getting a bit angry.
I think like that they're trying to go, because you've got like what we're used to with CoD, red dots on the minimap, pubs and all, like having that, so you basically have enough visibility, and then you've got the other spectrum, which is like CS:GO, where you don't have anything. And that's fine, because
that's what you're used to with CS:GO. That's what the CS:GO players, the pro players, have used the whole time. Yeah.
But like, you can't do an in between. Like, showing us a minimap in the corner, you might as well just give us nothing.
Yeah, there's no point. I mean, the only part of it being in pubs is that you know where your teammates are, so you can kind of guess where the other team's spawning. But in pro stuff, you pretty much know where your teammates are by callouts. So it's kind of pointless having it there. It just takes up part of your screen, to be honest, at this point in the pro stuff. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go in the next month or so. Maybe, let's say, before London. Maybe they go to the first event, they see how well it goes. If there's certain things that they do realise, oh shit, I wonder if they'll fix them. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
I think if it's only a small problem, like to us it's probably more of a major, but they see it as a small problem, they won't fix it. If it's something absolutely major that messes up a whole like match, and it's like, okay, this happened because of this, they're gonna have like they're gonna look like idiots even more. They're gonna realize, oh, we need to do something about that thing.
Yeah. But I just don't know if they will. It almost seems like they're just too stubborn to want to fix anything. It's like, this is our game, we're going to do it this way. It's the community are the people that will play your game, that spend money in your game. They deserve to have some of a say. Obviously, the developers are the ones that create the game, and that's fine. Obviously, they make the game how they want to make the game, but you have to listen to the players that play the game, and that it's their livelihood, especially the professionals that put 8 hours a day into playing this game. That's a lot, 8-10 hours. It's their job to play this game, and you're not even listening to them to sort it out. It's bad.
It all comes back down to like the fact that now it's franchised.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for future CODs because there's so much money invested into this, and there's so many like people that are going to hold the next developers accountable for how well the league does, because if it doesn't do well, a lot of people are going to be out of money.
a lot of people are going to be out of jobs as well if they don't fix the game this year, next year, because
I just hope that now, because obviously franchising will have been talks last year, and whatever the current next COD is going to be, it would have been like early development.
You would hope
I'm
so.
hoping that there's been that, okay, and they've been listening to all the complaints this year from us.
Yeah, it's taking the words right out of my mouth that hopefully they've just looked at this year and gone, well, we can't do that or we're going to get fucking slated. So hopefully they just take this year into account for next year, whoever's creating the game or whatever game's being created, that they fix up, to be honest. I know that's kind of a harsh thing just coming from a person who's just a part of the community, but, you know, it has to be better. No, the game needs to be better this year. Not even talking about next year. This year needs to be better. So, I don't know. It's just infuriating.
It's from a fan's point of view, it's so annoying not seeing that connection.
A fan can't enjoy it if a pro can't even enjoy it. How's a fan going to enjoy watching a pro play a game they don't like?
Treyarch's making 2020 card. Are we just because Sledgehammer's gone now.
Yeah, Sledgehammer got sacked off. So
I
don't know.
I mean, Treyarch did quite well with Black Ops 4. I think
to a degree. I feel like
from what we'd been through, I feel like they did well. Steer it back onto the right track.
I still prefer playing Black Ops 4 than I do playing Modern Warfare, but
I enjoy Modern Warfare to a degree.
I enjoy gunfight, and that's about it. I've said that from the start.
Or only playing Shoot House 24/7. But then I haven't played now for a month since
your computer broke.
And it's not like I've missed it. Like I've played competitive games in the past, like CS:GO, Overwatch, competitively, League, where it's like even after a week, I'm like, I need to play more.
Yeah,
it's just not done that to me this time.
No, nor me. It hasn't engaged that fire in my belly to want to play and just play more and grind levels and be better. I just haven't had that this year, and it sucks because I love COD.
Yeah,
and
it is a real shame.
It is what it is. I'll be watching every single game every single weekend and creating scoreboards for all of them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where the league goes this year. But I think we'll probably start to wrap things up here.
Yeah, I was going to say this is probably where we should start to wrap up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Obviously, overall final thoughts on CDL in the future. I mean,
really looking forward to it. Not so much the game this year, not so much Modern Warfare, but I'll be watching. I'll be watching every game. I'll be cheering the Ravens on. And I'll tell you what, I'm most looking forward to is going to London. Going to CDL London. That's going to be a fucking
London
blast.
atmosphere at esports events is like unbeaten. So
unmatched.
We've definitely got that. And for me, like, definitely looking forward to seeing this season and how it's all comes together as like,
100%.
once it's kicked off. And I think for overall like franchising, I think is the right path for CoD to keep it going.
Oh, 100%. I think,
competitively.
like we both said at the start, I think franchising is great for the future of CoD, especially after they fixed up the format. We'll just see where it goes.
Right.
I'm excited for it. We'll be here every week giving our views on all the changes and all of the ins and outs of what's going on in the league and in and around the game. So,
and obviously for those that have listened, feel free to share your thoughts on the CDL with us. You can do that over on Twitter at CDL This Week. Feel free to tweet us what you think about the franchise, anything we've talked about today. And
we're definitely interested to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Obviously, we got a little bit passionate towards the end there on the game, but yeah, definitely send over us your thoughts, and we'd be really intrigued to see what you've got to say. But obviously, this VOD will be up on YouTube, so if you're watching us on YouTube, definitely subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitch here at twitch.tv/camallenn, and we'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m. for the second episode of CDL This Week, which will be leading up to Minnesota, where we'll be giving our predictions and all of that other hot takes coming up to Minnesota. So we're really excited for that. Have you got anything else to say, Horizontal?
No, that's all from me.
Lovely. That's all from us.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. See you later.